Good morning, grinders. Welcome to DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka Blender HD. If you want to follow me there on Twitter. And it's Tuesday. We're still in the midst of NBA basketball season to our dismay. To our dismay. Last night, I'm glad I didn't play last night. Last night was based on seeing what happened pre-lock, post-lock, better been by your computer. I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference, though. I mean, I think a lot of the value that we had previously was ended up doing fine, but we had some late injury news, right? All of a sudden, LeBron questionable. He's always questionable, but then he decides not to play, and I think that news came out, I think, literally a minute after lock. So he had to do a lot of late swapping there. And then Christian Wood, he doesn't want to play. So Alperen Sengun got the start. I mean, he did 28.5 points for 4,400. I mean, he was fine. I mean, he was in 50% of the top 1% lineups. But yesterday it was what we expected from the very beginning, that it was going to be Brandon Williams and a bunch of Warriors, right? Because all those guys, everyone was sitting for the Warriors. Everyone, it seemed like everyone was. And Poole did fine. Lee didn't, but he was 3,400. But you had Kuminga, okay, and Moses Moody, 38 points. I think the big dud of the night was Josh Hart. Depending on what site you were playing on, I think he was more popular on FanDuel than he was on Draftkings, but still 16% owned. He ended up with only 19 points. We take a look at the leaderboard. Shady advice. Brandon Williams, Kevin Looney, 35 points. Moses Moody, Jordan Poole. So, yeah, 3 Warriors, Brandon Williams. Then with LeBron out, you either played like Westbrook or Monk or something like that. That did fine. Randall had a big game. Cade Cunningham, Deontay Murray. Yeah, you fit in it, as much as you can towards the top. I know Luka, Jokic had good games, but they were very expensive. So we take a look at the second place. Right. Oh, we also had Vucevic. Oh, we forgot about that. What hell of a slate last night. Vuce got ruled out. So Tristan Thompson drew the start. I guess, 23 points for 3,200. Pretty good, right? All flame emojis here. 388.75. So not bad. With Joel Embiid with 74 points. Luka with 76 points. Here's Forsaken's lineup with Sengun and Jokic. Right, but still, you got 3 Warriors and Brandon Williams. You got Brandon Williams and only one. Cheddar Bisque only had 1 Warrior in here. But, THT, I guess. Yeah, you could have played THT on the Lakers. Cade Cunningham. You put Sengun and Thompson, and then you're able to pay up for Luka. Okay, that makes sense. Giant Squid's best lineup. Also, and Edwards was out also. Dude, the injury news. Can they just do it all at one time? Patrick and Edwards is out, so that raises, Towns, Beverly, D'Angelo Russell, I guess, a little bit. But still, he still had Moody, still had Poole, still had Brandon Williams, 53% owned for Williams, 66% owned for Poole. Their projections were through the roof. Their projections, we had both Williams and Poole at like salary adjusted value plus 12, plus 14, something like that. When it's at that range, especially at those prices, 3,800 and 5,300. You just play them. I don't see how you get around that. We take a look across the board on a bunch of sharper players. 150 maxing on DraftKings. You see Pool 66% owned, and we could see all this dark green, right? Right, Petty Theft 98%, Oxen Duck 93, the Colts 82, Brick 80, 98, 86, 86. You probably should have played Jordan Poole. Brandon Williams, very similar. We had like Chipotle only 22, Petty Theft only 35, but still for the most part, most of the field was very over. Damian Lee, still Damian Lee, Russell Westbrook, who only put up 37 points for 8,100. Can he play basketball anymore? Is he worth it anymore? The Lakers are a mess. Kuminga mixed, but still for the most part, most people had at least some Kuminga. Sengun, we could see who late swapped and who didn't late swap. I think Royal Pain and Chipotle Addict just didn't even bother because look, Thompson also. So Sengun and Thompson to have 0 means that basically once lock hit, these guys just went out and partied or something. Because you would have some. Like I can understand being like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to be light on these guys. Don't play them that much, but you weren't going to play 0, right? Sengun was 27% owned. Thompson was 22% owned. To have 0 just means that it didn't lace well. RBX also 0 for Thompson, but he did have Sengun. So he was around post lock. Because that Wood news came out, was that after lock or just before lock? I mean, you still have time to late swap. Those games, I think, were an hour later. So just looking through. So you were very easy to pay up for stud type players. Because, I mean, you have $5,300 chalk guy, 3,800, 3,400, 4,500, 4,400, 3,200. So it was a very stars and scrubsy type of build. And a lot of the stars got there. A lot of people put up 70 points yesterday. If I would have played, I probably would have did decently because I would have just slammed some of the Warriors and Chalk and Brandon Williams anyway. But would it have gotten me all the way to the top? Who the hell knows, right? I'm playing tonight on FanDuel. FanDuel's so much softer. I'm gonna focus a lot more, especially before baseball season, on FanDuel over DraftKings because obviously we see that no matter what site you play on, that in the beginning of the season the fields are a bit softer, right? The fields are a bit bigger. They have a little bit bigger contests, and then that kind of drains over time as people as bad players go broke or stop playing. So the FanDuel it for the past several seasons, I noticed that FanDuel is softer, but the thing is that the ownership it's much harder to project ownership for FanDuel than it is to DraftKings, at least from my perspective. I know we have ownership out on our site, and I do modify it based on what I see around the industry. The thing on DraftKings is that for the large field GPP, it's a little bit more predictable, right? And I think that goes to the field strength because I think especially the large field GPP has like a $15, $18, $12, something like that. We've seen results DB, like 31,000 entries for it's like a $15 entry. So like 150 maxers make up more of that field than on FanDuel, where their contests are typically single digit and have like a 50,000, 60,000 entries in it. So like just the sheer amount of 150 maxers, which tend to be good players, are more they're more percentage of it in the DraftKings contest than the FanDuel contests, which also makes it harder to project ownership because you're going to get a lot more bad lineups on FanDuel. So someone that sticks out like Cameron Payne or someone or Kevin Looney, like that we have currently in our projections. This is only the early morning algorithmic projections. Our projection teams will come in and make manual adjustments to start the day. Like if we have like 58% ownership here on Payne, he may not be 58. He may end up at 46, right? But on DraftKings, I think it's much more likely. I'll reload this just to see. I'm going to look over here. Let's take a look. Yeah, we have 64% for Cameron Payne over here. And he's more likely to come in at like 70% on DraftKings. More likely to go up on DraftKings because sharper players and FanDuel go down. Let's see. Going through the YouTube chat. Yeah, I didn't welcome the YouTube chat people. Let's see. The Suki Singh, he's always here early. Steve Anthony, R.C. Bremen, Daniel Hutchings, Trey, Kick Out Clicker, right? I didn't welcome you. I didn't wish you good morning. Give me those thumbs ups. I always have to beg people for the thummy thumbs. Ups, downs, whatever. Subscribe buttons. Click anything you want. We also have a new channel, Scores and Odds, right? I think it's youtube.com/scores and odds. I'm not sure. But I think there's probably a link in the description. Or on the Grant has the live lock show. You should find it somewhere. It's somewhere. It should be somewhere, right? So for all your betting needs, if you want the locks, you know my opinion on locks. I'm not a big fan of the name of the show, but whatever. If you want the Grant's prop betting action that he does. Typically, he's not waking up that early, right? We all know Grant. He ain't waking up early in the morning. He's not watching this show, but probably be up by what? Because he's in Colorado, so that's like noon for him. So he's probably just getting out of bed and looking at the prop bets for that day. So if you want his opinions and everything, go to the Scores and Odds YouTube channel at 2 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. He does all his betting stuff. And then he also has a channel in our Discord, the Grant's Action Lounge, I believe that's what it's called. And then Chief also has his prop betting channel. So if you want to join that, join RotoGrinders. I'm not sure if they're free or not. I'm not sure. Maybe Devin will tell me if Grant's channel's free. I think Chief's is. So if you just sign up to RotoGrinders with a regular account, you'll be able to get into the free channels in our Discord. My channel, you have to be premium, right? Because, I'm a pain in the ass.
And Chief's channel is actually free. Grant's is free for now.
Okay, so the Devin just chimed in that Chief's channel is free, but Grant's channel is free for now. So you to get in while it's hot on the Scores and Odds YouTube channel. Just subscribe over there. YouTube, let's say youtube.com/scores and odds. Is it? Let's see. Scores and Odds. I'm not even subscribed to it. I'm very bad. Nope. That doesn't exist. Scores and Odds. How about Scores Odds? Devin, can you please tell me what the YouTube channel is? Oh, Elijah dropped it in. Oh, do we even have a name for the? Did we not name the channel yet? Someone has to get on that to change the YouTube URL. Right? Because what am I supposed to say? It's youtube.com/channel/uppercase C, yeah, AGB-VWZ8SJ8. That's also my PIN code for my ATM. So hopefully you don't use that. So you can see here. So we have we have all of the Scores and Odds. So subscribe. Hit that subscribe button of Scores and Odds. Because that started up this week. And also, we also have the Spike Week, the best ball stuff. Who's drafting best ball for NFL in March? Who's doing it? I guess degenerates are. So if you want that, go to spikeweek.com. Let's see. Going through the YouTube chat a little bit. Daniel Hutchinson's added, like what I said before. I recently added a percent maxers column to my spreadsheet. Very important. Yes. DK Main yesterday was 32%, 150 maxers. Right. And people that play 150 lineups are typically putting in 150 very good lineups. Because you're not going to last long playing bad lineups 150 at a time. Right. So every once in a while, you'll see, this new person put in 150 lineups. You ain't going to see them a month from now, most probably. You're going to lose too much money doing that. Let's see. Kick House Kicker says, I find baseball to be more difficult than NBA or NFL. I have no interest in it. I disagree. I prefer baseball over basketball and NFL. Maybe not NFL. There's just too much money in NFL. I mean, that's really the appeal to me. That it's the softest fields. It's not easy, but it's softer than all the other sports. There's more dead money in those contests, but NBA is just a lot of work, right? And it's not like there's no edge in NBA. There is an edge in NBA because of all the late news and all the stuff shifting around in late swap. There is, just that it's a lot more work, right? Right. This slate tonight is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, these are the types of slates I don't mind, right? I don't mind the large slates. It's just it's the times, right? It's the times that matter. So here tonight we got a 7 o'clock, a 7 o'clock, a 7 o'clock, a 7:30, and 8 o'clock, and then a 10. So really, all my work, I start building lines around 6, right? I tune in to Grinders Live, the end of Grinders Live, which is later today on this channel. Click that notification bell to know when that happens. And then we got the Crunch Time Premium with Andy and Kevin Roth and everyone. And I listen to that while I'm building my lineups. I'm adjusting ownership. I'm doing all my magic, building my lineups. And then 7, we get news or whatever. Then we got 3 7 o'clock games. And then I got to make sure how is this Pelicans Grizzlies lineup going to show up? Okay. Maybe I need to do a late swap at 7:25. And then we got the Bucks Thunder game. So it's like 7:55. Maybe there's some news or something. I got to swap there. And then I'm pretty much done for the night. Like unless something really dramatic happens for the Clippers Warriors game, some unexpected stuff, I'm pretty much done. Right? So like 8 o'clock comes around, boop, I could have my dinner, spend some time with my wife, watch some Netflix or whatever, and be perfectly fine. Turn on the RotoGrinders app notifications just to make sure the Clippers Warriors game starting lineups are as they should be, and then that's it. So like, I don't mind if it's like 10 games and it's spaced out like this. But when we have slates where it's 9 or 10 games, we got 1 at 7, 2 at 7:30, 2 at 8, 1 at 8:30, 2 at 9, 2 at 10, and 1 at 10:30. Just throw me off a roof at that point, because that just basically means I need to sit at my computer for essentially 4 hours, which is fine. There's an edge in doing that. It's fine. It's just a lot more work. A lot more work. Baseball, typically, other than the West Coast games, almost all the lineups are out, right? By 6:30, even the West Coast game lineups are out. Occasionally, the Diamondbacks haven't released their starting lineup. They're playing at 9:40, or the Padres or Dodgers at 10:10, and it's like that's the only lineup that's not out. Or the Angels. Typically, it's Joe Madden, right? The Angels lineup isn't out. It's Tyler Wade in. You need to know that for your Angel stacks or something like that. Or Taylor Ward. That's what I'm talking about. Taylor Ward. It's always Taylor Ward. Or Justin. Is Justin Upton going to play? They have him at 2,800, and he made that cleanup, and then he's not in, right? But typically that lineup will come out at 7:30, right? So a half an hour after lock, and then you got to switch out some stuff, and then you're done. Then you're done. You're done for the night. There's no more work to do. You check in on stuff on your MLB app, and you could get on with your life, right? Maybe you put on MLB TV and you're watching a couple of games at the same time for whatever reason. That's it. NBA, a lot more work. So that's really what it comes down to. That's why I would prefer MLB. And also, MLB is very correlation based. You're pretty much stacking teams. So, I'm not concerned enough about, do I play this 7th hitter or that 6th hitter? Just like, no, I'm stacking the Yankees with the Diamondbacks. I'm stacking the Red Sox with the Astros. I'm picking 2 pitchers and give me a lineup there. Give me a lineup here. Give me a lineup here. What positions, what batting orders, whatever. Give me whatever I need, right? Much easier. I could show up 15 minutes before a baseball slate and pump out 100 lineups, no problem, that are competitive, that are good, plus EV, I guess. And there's a lot more variance. So on a day-to-day basis in baseball, the team with the highest team total scored 2 runs. And the team with the lowest team total scored 15 runs. And it can happen. So if you like embracing variance, baseball is much better than NBA. JWH in the YouTube chat. Feel free to add to the YouTube chat. Feel free to say hi to Devin. Devin doesn't produce this show that often. This is a special occasion. Can't you tell from the production value that Devin? Can't you tell that Devin is producing the show? It always looks better. It always looked. I don't know what it looked like, but it probably looked better. It should. The transitions between the intro and what it maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter. Eli does a good enough job, and Steve's here every once in a while. Okay, and the YouTube chat. Add your questions. What else are we going to talk about? Right? We're going to talk about tonight's slate. Who knows what, like I always say this because I always get a message. I get a message on average maybe once a day or a comment on YouTube. You didn't go over today's slate on the pregame show. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. If we went over yesterday's slate at 11 o'clock, it would have been all wrong, right? LeBron's out, Vooch is out, Wood's out. What's the point, right? That's why you tune in to Grinders Live later today, right? 5 o'clock, 4:45, whenever they start. They move that around all the time. I don't know when. You'll see them hit the notification bell. They'll know when they go live. And then crunch time for premium members. Right? That's to me, that's where I get all my information. Because Andy comes on and Kevin comes on. And then I know in real time, this guy's in, this guy's out, this thing and whatever. Both sides, DraftKings, FanDuel, they're all over the place. And it gives me, it's like having like 24/7 news, like a news channel, like CNN for NBA basketball, like right on while I'm building. I'm like, oh, I got to change this. Oh, I got to change that. Right? So I know. So that's what you should be doing. Me going over the slate, what's that going to do for you today? No. That's why we talk about strategy. That's why I answer your questions in the YouTube chat. JWH asks, I know you've talked about the importance of ownership projections, which yes. Do you project every player ownership or just projections up and down from a baseline? Say the RG ownership projections, for example. Yes, I use the RG ownership projections as a baseline, right? I use the RG projections as a baseline for the player projections also, for everything, right? I eat my own dog food. I'm not here saying, oh, sign up for RotoGrinders. It's the stuff that I'm promoting, but I don't use. No, I've been using Lineup HQ and the projections for all sports for RotoGrinders since I've started playing, for 6 years. Okay, this is what I use. Right, I'm not just saying this, but yes, but I do look around the industry. Right, people have different opinions on different minutes. Right, especially in NBA, models could be slightly different. And I want to know what other people are looking at. I'm not trying to decide who's correct. That's not the point of DFS to me. The point is how probabilistically versus what the field is going to do. And if I know that a portion of the field is looking at something else, I want to know what they're looking at. Because maybe I go over to another source and they have Kevin Looney at 28 minutes for whatever reason. I don't think they would, but whatever. Or 22 minutes. Well, like based on our projections, Kevin Looney is going to be 47% owned based on our projections. But maybe if other sites, other sources have Kevin Looney at 22 minutes, right? We bumped that down to 22 minutes. And now his projection goes to 25.07. Well, he's not going to be 47% owned. He's probably going to be like 26% owned or something. Whatever. I'm making up a number, right? So that's the type of stuff that I would do. Not necessarily, I may not even change the minutes, right? But I may change the ownership. Looking around the industry, we may have a 2-3-4 point higher projection on someone than most of the industry. We may be right? We may end up being right, but everyone else is looking at other stuff also. So that's the main reason why I do it. It's not a matter of who's right, and a lot of times I split the difference. So if there's a big enough discrepancy, I'll split it right in the middle. Like for instance, like take Kevin Looney, right? If I see here's another source has 27 minutes. This source is 24 minutes. This source is 26 minutes. We have 25, right? Like what's the difference, right? Maybe I set it at 26. Maybe I bump it up 1 minute. But I'm doing it primarily so I could adjust the ownership properly, right? And there's sometimes sometimes people are on for no apparent reason. Sometimes you look around, you see what people are talking about, you read some articles, and then someone comes in at 12% owned that you think should be 30% owned. But that calculation dramatically affects like the lineups that I'm building. So I need to know that. So the point is not about getting better projections. It's more about what are people looking at. And that's what my game is geared on. If your game's not geared necessarily strongly on that, then it's not as important. I just want to make the best lineups possible and be as accurate as possible with the player projections. Okay, perfectly fine. Me, I don't care about the accuracy of the player projections. I care about the accuracy of the ownership projections. In fact, in NBA, I could even build my lineups based on ownership. Like I could remove the player projections entirely. Like I can remove Cameron Payne 39.88. I can remove everything off of this page other than the peon and still build plus EV lineups. Well, how do you do that? Well, ownership is typically tied to value, right? The reason why Cameron Payne we have projected on let's go to DraftKings, for instance, right, where he's only 5,300 as opposed to 6,600 on FanDuel. If I took away everything else on this line and just showed you that this guy is going to be 64% owned, you would have to infer that his projection is really, really good, right? For 5,300. So if we eliminated fantasy points completely, like I could build, like here's the optimal, for instance, currently, based on our algorithmic early morning projections. 303.15 is the total median projection of this lineup. 244.20% ownership sum. Okay. So a lineup with that ownership sum is probably a very highly projected lineup. A lineup with an ownership sum of 200 probably projects lower. How much lower? I don't know. But let's say just using ownership, I did not have the fantasy points. I mean, I can go in. I don't know if I could. Let's see. I can't click and delete all of them. I would have to upload a CSV with all the zeros in it. But if I just went by, I want lineups that have 200 total ownership. If I just went into build rules and said, I don't care about the projection. I just want lineups between 180 and 200. Let's just say, let's put 20 there, right? I'm just looking for 20 lineups between these two ownership sums, right? And there you go. Like I don't even need the player project. Like the player projection column could be completely wrong, right? We don't care about the points. The points aren't even going to be there. All I'm going to see is 197.92. And it's going to be a lineup with Rozier, Shamet, Marketing, Crowder, Ayton, Shai, Love, Looney. So basically without Payne. Do any of these lineups have Payne in it at all? Yeah, 5 of these lineups. Okay. So let's go to the Payne. Let's say you wanted to play Payne, right? Because then you'd obviously have to find some 11%, some lower owned players in order to get in between that 180 and that 200. So even if I did not have the player projections, as long as my projected ownership is reasonably enough accurate, I could build GPP lineups. I could build a lineup for any field, any size, any type of contest, just with that. It's harder to do that in other sports because of the correlations involved, right? NBA, there's very weak correlations. You're not caring that much about it. In baseball, you can't really do it this way. I want a lineup that is X% owned. It's like, yeah, but I also want 5-man stats. I also want, right? You have 5 guys, one guy on the same team, right? One guy's 20%, one guy's 15%, one guy's 10%, one guy's 8%. It's like, but most likely, all those 4 players are going to be in the same lineup together as well. So it's not just individual player ownerships, it's the combined block of ownerships together because people stack. So more, if you're playing Xander Bogaerts in a lineup, it's more likely to have JD Martinez in it. It's more likely to have whoever on the Red Sox in it. So you can't necessarily just go by ownership sum without any type of player projections whatsoever. But that's the main reason why, to me, the way that I play from the ownership down approach rather than the projection down approach. That I want to make sure that my ownership is as accurate as possible in a slate. And since most sites, including ours, typically project ownership in an algorithmic based way, you miss the human nuance, right? Humans are irrational, right? A lot of times ownership projections are based around a rational market, or at least a closely rational market. And the market it could be way more irrational than you think. So I try to judge the irrationality of the market and add them to the ownership projections. 6A King NYC asks, let's see, going through. Let me go. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Do I use the true range randomness or regular random? It doesn't matter. Those are all diversification settings. It depends on how diverse your lineups you want to be. There's no magic buttons on an optimizer. What I use doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. What diversification? All these these things are for diversification purposes. Do you want 20 lineups with with 7 of the same guys and then one different guy? Well, that's a not very diverse lineup set. So that would be a number of unique players, 1. And there may be a reason why I want a lot of these people and just random, just whatever. And the rest of you may want that. Especially on a slate with a lot of like hard value. Like last night's slate. Last night's slate, we're essentially playing 4v4s or at least 5v5s. You're probably playing Poole. You're probably playing Brandon Williams. You're probably playing at least one of Lee or Moody. And then you're probably playing at least one of Thompson or Sengun. So it's like, how many unique players do I need now in my lineup? I mean, I'm pretty much jamming in 90+% of like 4 different guys. So my diversity settings are probably going to be very low. I don't need as much diversity because I don't have that many slots left. But maybe you want to be bordered. Maybe your risk tolerance is lower than on that specific slate. Kyle Brown, do you use groups when building stars and scrubs? No. And for a balanced approach to 150s. If so, one is more significantly used than the other. No, you still, the number one thing, this is why I would recommend. I mean, I have like 700 hours of content. I've answered these questions probably more than 1,000 times. And of course, I'm exaggerating, but a lot. Okay. What you're asking doesn't matter. Okay. Once you get it, you're going to make a lot of money playing DFS. Okay. Once you understand that, do you use groups? Do you do this? All you're doing is trying to build plus EV lineups. So you care about the individual lineups here. Boom. I'm building 20 lineups with whatever. I don't know. Did I still have the 180 in there? Did I eliminate that? So all I'm doing is looking, is this lineup with 244% ownership and 303 median projection for the contest that I'm playing, is this plus EV? Do I have any players in here that I think have a limited negative correlation that they can't get there at the same time? Then they can. Holiday and Portis could still get there at the same time. 3 guys from Phoenix could still get there at the same time. But maybe it still caps my ceiling a little bit. So maybe I'm going to choose to not play a lineup with 2 bucks in it, with multiple bucks in it. Right? Look, here's a lineup with 3 bucks. Giannis, Holiday, and Portis. Can they all appear in the winning lineup? Sure, of course they can. But it's a lower probability that they all get flame emojis. Right? I'd rather Giannis get all the points or Holiday get all the points and Giannis have a snowflake. I'd rather that. If I'm playing large field GPPs especially. So maybe I look at this and I go, maybe lineups that only have 1 buck maybe are better. Like this lineup maybe, projects a little bit lower, slightly less owned, but maybe have more of a shot at a first place finish. I don't care about the median as much. Do I want to play Love, Markkanen, and Mobley together? Maybe I don't want to play 3 of those guys together, right? Especially since Love comes on for some of these for Mobley and Markkanen. They're cheap enough that they still have a probability of both getting flame emojis together, but it may be a little less likely. Middleton and Portis. So I take a look at some of this stuff and I go, from a lineup to lineup perspective, look, I'm not looking at exposures. I'm not looking at anything else other than the actual lineups. So I'm going, do I want to play Payne and Shamet together? Yeah, you can. They're cheap enough. And Crowder? Yeah, the Suns are cheap enough that I don't mind that. But Love and Mobley. So maybe I go in and I create a group that Love, Mobley, Markkanen. And then I'm also going to go in Giannis, Holiday, Middleton, Portis. If I want, you could also go into the build rules and do player per team. I could just go like Milwaukee, only one, right? I could do that. Or you could use a player group for that. So min 0, max 1, right? So I looked at those. Okay, now give me 20 other lines. So now I'm going to see what lineups show up, right? So here, I get Nora in there also. Maybe I don't want Nora together. I only want $1. I want to eliminate. I want to try to maximize my ceiling. They're priced. The butts are priced expensive enough that maybe you could play. You could play. It's a shorter slate. I mean, yeah, it's a 6-game slate. If it's a larger slate, this is what I'd more likely do. So I'm going to run just 20 lineups just for speed sakes. And I see this, and I go, okay, Payne, Shamet, Crowder, Love, Claxton, because that's what Aldridge is out, right? So Claxton probably should get the backup center minutes. I mean, because Drummond's still there. So as you see here, I'm not looking at exposures. I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at the actual lineups. I have 4 Suns. Do I want to play 4 Suns in a lineup? Would I rather play different lineups? All these guys can get there against Orlando, but maybe I don't. Okay, maybe I don't. I want to eliminate those types of lineups. Maybe that would be a reason if I wanted to create a group of Ayton, Crowder, Shamet, Payne. Okay. So let's just say I wanted to build 20 lineups. That is what I want to build. So I'm going to run this again. I'm going to look at the individual lineups. Rozier and Martin, I could play that together. Love and Osman, I mean, they're cheap enough, right? I could do that. Right? Love here. I look through these lineups, right? Right? I'm getting 100% Looney and 100% Payne. Like, let's just pretend I'm building 20 lineups. I'm not worried about ownership even. Let's just make it very simple. Maybe you're like, I don't want to play Kevin Love in 90% of my lineups. Maybe you don't want to take that risk. It's a risk tolerance thing. I've already determined that these 20 lineups are good. Let's just say. I've already determined that I could use them, but I don't want to play. I only want to play 50%. Okay. I don't want to play 100% Kevin Looney. Maybe in my 20 lineups, I only want him in 70%. Like, just make a number. Cameron Payne, I don't mind in all of them. Right? We got SGA, we got Rozier, Cody Martin. Right? So I decide what my risk is. Do I want Kevin Love? Maybe I think Kevin Love is overowned. Maybe he's going to be 35% owned, and I think he's overowned for 35%. Maybe I only want him at 20%. Maybe. So now I'm just going to run 20 more lineups like that. I've put in some risk preferences. I've already determined I could play those 20 lineups. The problem is that I have all the Looney. If Looney does bad, then I'm dead, which is fine. If Looney does great, I got tons of good lineups, right? Tons of 20 lineups towards the top. So now I look at this and I go, okay. Well, now that I'm not playing that much Love, I'm going to play a lot more marketing. And I look at the individual lineups. Maybe I don't want to play Love and Osman together. Don't they come? They both play in the second unit. I haven't paid attention to the Cavs rotation. Maybe I don't want to play Osman and Love together. They're cheap enough. You could get away with it. Osman and Markin. Maybe I add that to the list. Let's put Osman in the Cavs. Like Osman there. I go back. I build 20 more lineups. Right? Maybe I look at the projection versus the ownership now. I go, okay, 200 at 287, 286. There's something that's really low. 280 at 179. Okay, that isn't bad. Probably wouldn't play Holiday and Payne. They're cheap enough. You could. Payne and Bridges, you can. So maybe I want to create a group. So I'm not playing Holiday and Payne together. I don't think they share the court at the same time. So maybe I go in, I separate those guys out. Holiday and Payne. Then let's make 50 lineups, for instance. Okay, so I'm melting 50 lineups. And I think Love is overowned, so I don't want as many lineups with love. So now I'm going to go through. I'm going to look lineup to lineup. Which lineups do I think are plus EV? Right, based on this. I got a lot of Rozier. I got a lot of marketing. I got a lot of Cody Martin. Maybe I don't want to have most of my night predicated on Cody Martin. So maybe I only play him in 30% of my lineups. Do I want it all on Lauri Markkanen? Maybe not. Maybe I only want to play him in 40% of my lineups. Right? I'm putting in my risk. It's not a do I want to be over the field or under the field? All I'm doing is diversifying. Right? Do I want it? No. I Rozier in 50% at max. Maybe SGA in 50% max. Right? Because I want diversification. I can still find lineups that have him in it or him not in it. But I'm putting in my risk preference. Cameron Payne, I don't mind in 100% of my lineups. He's projected so well. Who cares? If he dies, he dies. So now let's say I'm building 50 lineups, but I only want to play 20. I'm only going to be playing 20. I'm playing the 20, the 4 max, the 20 max, $4, whatever. Right? So now I look. Now I'm much more diverse. I have a much more diversified lineup set now. Right? But now I only want to play 20 of them. So I'm going to look, and I'm just going to look lineup to lineup. Which 20 do I want to play? Right? 200, 287 at 200. 287 at 200. Okay, that's fine. 286 at 196, 286 at 195, 286 at 194, 286 at 197. Do I want Amir Coffey? Maybe I don't want to play this lineup. Okay. It's a little bit higher owned than the lineup above. Same for this projects a little bit lower. Right? So we're looking at 194, 195. Maybe I don't want to play that one. 191. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I don't play this lineup. 197, 199, 193. Maybe I don't mind that. 193, 190, 188, 190. Maybe get rid of this lineup. Let's get rid of anything under 190. This is 186 because now we're down to 283 projection. Right? This is close enough. 282, 182. Okay, so anything, anything 10 points higher in ownership and the projection's low, so I'm going to get rid of this. 192, 190, 185. Do we get, okay, here's a 181, 185. Can we beat 181 now? 178. So basically all we're doing is as the projection gets lower, the ownership should also get lower to some reasonable extent. If it's very close, you can still play those lineups. Those are still fine. But I'm only playing 20, so I want to be discernible on what 20 that I'm playing. All right, so I get rid of this one maybe. 175, so that's lower. 175, 177, close. 184, 164, 164, 169. Let's get rid of anything. 165, 168. There's 164. 161. So maybe how many lineups do I have? I have 24 lineups now. So I've eliminated. Now I take a look at my exposure. It's like, I'm getting a lot more SGA lineups. Maybe I don't want as many SGA lineups. So now I've already determined these 24 lineups are fine, but I'm going to get rid of 4 of the SGA lineups because I want my risk. I don't want to have 71% SGA. You may want to have, you may not mind that. Right? You have 79% Kevin Looney. So maybe are there SGA Looney lineups that I could get rid of? Let's go by lowest fantasy points, the lowest projection. Right? Probably you don't play Poku and Roby together, so maybe you get rid of this anyway. So let's see. Here's an SGA Hartenstein. Maybe I don't want to do that. Let's see. Payne, Middleton, Bain, Mobley, Roby, SGA, Coffey, Looney. Okay, that isn't bad. But this is one of the lower SGA Looney lineups. So maybe I get rid of that. Get rid of this one. Now I have 20 lineups. There you go. So here we go. Here's the 20 lineups. What's my exposures? It doesn't matter. This is all just representation of risk. not whether or not each individual lineup is plus EV. Is it good? Based on obviously we're going based on the algorithmic crap from the beginning of the morning. You would have to do this before lock, not these exact numbers. I look through and I go, okay, this should be fine. This is fine. This is fine. And here's your 20 lineups. And if you're looking at these 20 lineups going, well, I don't want to play Kevin Looney in 15 out of 20 lineups. Okay, then do exactly what I did, build a whole bunch of lineups, and then get rid of the ones that have Looney. So you only have 40%. But are the individual lineups good? That's all that should matter. There's going to be tons of Looney lineups that are good. You're only playing 20 lineups. You want to play all 20 with Looney. You could play all 20 without Looney because you could find 20 non-Looney lineups that are good also. So all these exposures are a representation of your risk. There's no strategy to it. This guy's going to be 10% owner, and I'm going to have 30%. What does that matter if the 30% of lineups that the guy's in are horrible? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much of them you have. Right? Oh, the guy's going to be 15% owned. I'm going to have 75% of them. So if he does well, I'm going to do great. Yeah, but what happens if you're going to have him in 15 out of 20 lineups, and what happens if those 15 lineups are horrible? Right? I'm going to play all the Cameron Payne. You can play all the Cameron Payne with 7 backups that project for 2 points. But I have 100% Cameron Payne, in lineups that are horrible. Lineups matter. Exposures don't matter. So don't worry about, do you use the randomness? Do you use this to look at the actual lineups? Does the projection and ownership, the ratio between the two, make sense for the field size and contest that you're playing? Is there any absurd enough negative correlation that you probably are capping your ceiling a little bit? Depends on how much you want to cap it. And Rozier and Martin. Martin's only 3,500, so I don't mind that. Typically, I kind of want to get rid of people that come in and out for each other. But if they're really cheap, they can still both get there. So you have to decide where that negative correlation line is to you. And in a smaller field contest, you don't need the nuts in all your spots. So you could play, if you wanted to play Giannis and Holiday and Middleton, all 3 of them together, and you're playing a 200, 300 person contest, I don't care that their ceilings are all 3 of them hitting, an 8x. It's going to be uncommon, but they probably all don't need to in a contest for that size. You're playing a 30,000 entry field contest, probably shouldn't play all 3 of them together. Right? It's not going to happen often enough that you would be doing it. So that's what you'd be looking at from a lineup to lineup standpoint. The amount of a player you have in your portfolio set is just like having stocks in your portfolio. How many stocks should I own? That there's no such thing, right? If you feel strongly about one stock, put all your money in that one stock. And if that does well, you're going to make a lot of money. If it does poorly, you're going to lose a lot of money. If you put 2% on 50 stocks, your likelihood of winning a lot of money, of getting a lot of money, or earning in a year, or losing a lot of money is much lower because you're more diversified. Some stocks will go up a lot, but you only have 2% of them. Some stocks will go down, you only have 2%, but it still comes down to, you still gotta have good stocks. Having 50 bad stocks, you're still gonna lose money. Rather, do I want to have a 1 stock where I lose all my money, or 50 of them do I lose all my money? So the percentage of your portfolio doesn't matter. It only matters when it comes to your risk preference. Let's see. Anything else in YouTube chat before we get out of here? People yelling in the chat. Don't ruin it. Let them take their medicine they're about to receive. Oh, okay. Jimmy Touchdown asks, can you still the course for free on PDF? I don't know what that means, but no. I do have a course. The Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. It's a 15-hour audio DFS masterclass. So no, it's not. There's no PDF of it. It's 15 hours. It's like going to a seminar. It's like, like if I came to your town and I was in the Ramada Inn conference room, I got a seminar for you, whatever, blah blah blah, and you were there for 2 days. And me and James McCall, we teach you all of these types of concepts. I mean, literally, what I'm describing is in chapter 8, risk management. If we could take a look at the risk management chapter, right? Lineup diversification, player exposures, right? Playing multiple contests, playing multiple lineups, variance control, EV and ROI implications of that, lineup diversification. Oh, I just discussed, obviously in a much more thought out way. Here, I'm riffing right now. If you want to learn more about those types of concepts and everything else, that's why you can see here the entire table of contents. This is all game theory. You could apply this to anything. That's why it's not about NBA or MLB or any DFS, any game. A lot of these concepts exist in every game. You could go play Monopoly. Some of these concepts apply for Monopoly, right? You're going to play anything. Risk, board games, chess, poker. It's all game theory. So you can go to theoryofdfs.com and pick that up. How to think like a professional DFS player. Once you get it, you get it. Once you get it, you're gonna think that 99% of the questions you've ever asked are the stupidest thing ever. You can go, I can't believe I was that stupid. Right? I was not thinking about what the game of DFS actually is. Because once you understand what it actually is, a lot of these questions just go like, why is there a point in even talking about it? So theoryofdfs.com. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the thumbs. It helps us out. Go to the Scores and Odds YouTube channel. Just search it on YouTube, okay? Until they get a custom URL or something for it, right? So I don't have to give out the nuclear launch codes in the URL in order to get you there. So go to youtube.com, search for Scores and Odds. Subscribe to that channel. There'll be some prop betting stuff, and Grant's show is going to be on that channel. And if you're here on this channel here on YouTube later today, we got Grinders Live later today, who will discuss Dean and the crew. They'll discuss tonight's 6-game slate, and we got Crunch Time for premium members. Sign up for premium. You could be part of my Discord channel, which is only for premium members. So sign up, click on the link in the description, get $10 off your first month. So we always in that channel, I answer the same type of questions here. If you're listening on the podcast and you never hear live, you could always join the Discord, and I answer any question you want. In that, that's the way to get in touch with me. To just join the Discord and go into that channel, and then on a mostly weekly basis, I do group coaching calls that are not recorded, right? So it's a Zoom call. It's like private coaching. So for like 1 to 2 hours, mostly weekly. It's about every 10 days or so, whatever. We change times and days just so I make sure to hit people. I can't make afternoons, but I can make nights. I can make weekends, but not weekdays. Stuff like that. And you get on. We have great conversations in there. So the links are always posted in the Discord channel to join those Zooms. Typically, we have anywhere from 10 to 50 people for them. And then you get on video and audio just like this, and you could bring up your screen. People share their rotor trackers. They share their Excel spreadsheets. We go through process stuff. They show me what they're, whatever. It's your time. You could use it however you want to use it. So join RotoGrinders Premium. You get access to that as well. And Devin is even saying in the YouTube chat, any NHL fans out there can tune into our NHL Grinders Live as well, 3 p.m. Eastern as well, starting Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward. Oh, we're doing more content here. So if you're going to play hockey, if you're going to play NHL hockey Tuesdays and Thursdays, NHL Grinders Live, 3 p.m. Eastern. So tune into that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll go over how much Cameron Payne sucked his chalk, because that possibly could happen. And answer your DFS strategy questions, as I always do, on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.